The good, the bad, and the odd. It's a thing.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Hammer with your hosts Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Right, so this is I think our seventh Hammer. I think something like that.
Yeah.
We're on 1959 now, 1959, and this is Hammer's run. You know, Hammer were kind of riffing on Universal, right? We've had the Dracula, we've had the Frankenstein,
Just a bit.
and now we got the Mummy, and in a couple of films we got Werewolf as well, Wolfman. So this is the Mummy. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, directed by Terence Fisher. So it's all, standard Hammer. I mean, the set design's pretty good, as it was with Hammer. The music's bombastic, so you know where you are. And when there's blood, it's red, right? Bright.
Yeah.
So this is like they're kind of developing their thing, aren't they? Their look and feel. Also written by Jimmy Sangster, who wrote he wrote Dracula, a horror Dracula, for example. Music wasn't by the usual. What's his name? Damn it, I forgot his name. The music in this one was by Franz Reisenstein, was his name. It wasn't as memorable as some of the other stuff.
See, I quite liked it.
I liked it, but it's just I'm having trouble to even remember it. It was very Egyptian sounding, quite rightly, right? So, yeah fair enough. Okay, what's your general feeling about this one?
I quite enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than the Universal Mummy.
Yeah, funny enough, I didn't. I thought I liked this film more than I did watching it this time. I think my expectations, I remembered it better. Now, the copy we saw was kind of not great, and I have seen a Blu-ray version of this, and it looks absolutely brilliant. So I think maybe the version let me down a bit. It was like, it might be that, because I remember the Blu-ray being really good. I can't remember, I thought I had it, but I couldn't find it. But I have seen some scenes of it. Maybe I saw it on an HD version on Sky or something, and it looked really immaculate. Or on BBC or something. Because the BBC did broadcast several of the early Hammers a few months back. They just did it out of the blue. Every Saturday there was a Hammer on. So it might have been that one I saw. Anyway, so we got Peter Cushing as a younger man in this. Peter Cushing never looks that young, though, does he?
No.
He's got a father and an uncle, and they're digging. They're in kind of Africa, near Egypt, but not in Egypt, I don't think, or it might be. They're digging out a tomb. They found this tomb of this Princess Ananka, who was on a pilgrimage for the god Karnak. But died, and they did say in the film. In the film, they kind of suggested they were talking from a point of expertise. They were talking about the Egyptians in a kind of expert way. Now, I don't know if that was all made up. It probably was, but they were kind of saying, "Oh no, it's the usual thing in Egypt to take back to the holy city." But the high priest made this decision not to do it, and this, that, and the other. So it was. They were kind of doing it from a sort of historical authority kind of view. I don't know if that was pretense or not, but the natives, the pallbearers were kind of restless when they found this tomb, and it went on like that. Now, okay, and they had a weird subplot where Peter Cushing broke his leg, so he couldn't go in the tomb, and he ends up with a limp the rest of the film, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was kind of
weird.
It's a minor character quirk, but
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we also got a sort of sketchy Egyptian fella called Mehmet Bey, who's I'm pretty sure he's an English actor.
He was a Cypriot.
Oh, is he? Okay, well that explains. Okay, so he wasn't browned up. That was his natural skin colour. Well, that's good. Yeah. So Cypriots kind of have a similar look to Egyptians.
We're not being sketchy here. We're like a lot of films at this time. Did that sort of thing. It took a while. Well, for example, Christopher Lee plays Karis. So
and Fu Manchu. If you want to really, that isn't a Hammer film, but there are films with Christopher Lee playing Fu Manchu, and before that, Boris Karloff before him. So So he's kind of watching, but he's kind of not happy. Now, this was a little similar to the Mummy, Universal Mummy, wasn't it? A little similar.
Yeah.
In that
It
the
was
mum
like a
went,
combination of that and some one of the later Frankenstein films. So-
there was, with Igor using the monster for revenge, wasn't it? Kind of thing. I know the
Yeah.
one you mean. Apparently, it's kind of based on a couple of Universal films. Later, some of the later Universal ones. It says on Wikipedia, it's actually taking some of the plot from 2 of the Universal films. We didn't cover the Mummy films in the Universal, apart from the original, did we? Because they're boring, frankly.
Yeah.
So we just didn't do them. But I haven't seen them in years. But it was 2 of the films: The Mummy's Hand and The Mummy's Tomb. And apparently, the end is pretty much the same as another one called The Mummy's Ghost. You know, where they trap it in a swamp and shoot it and stuff. So, yeah. There's not much connection other than the first person to see the mummy gets kind of driven mad, which happened in the original Universal, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it's his father in this one. It looked kind of lush. It was a pretty punchy film. I think 87 minutes. And it kind of got on with business. It was kind of funny that they had a massive flashback. The massive flashback to Egypt was fine. I had no problem with that. But they also had a flashback to the bit of the film we saw earlier, but explaining it more fully. And I thought that was a bit cheeky, actually.
I thought it was kind of cool. It reminded me a bit of sort of Rashomon-esque.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad comparison. I thought it was a little dull. I actually think this is probably the worst of the Hammers we've seen so far.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting, but it was kind of an interesting story, with, like all the revenge and.
It was watchable. Christopher Lee was pretty great as the mummy, I thought. He was imposing.
I think he was better as Frankenstein's monster, and I didn't much like that Frankenstein's monster. No. So
I thought he was imposing as the mummy though, because he's so big.
Yeah, and I guess because he's quite a lanky guy. Like he looked like he looks kind of rotted. So
yeah, it kind of worked. I like the fact it ends basically 2 drunk delivery men drop him in a swamp. And the guy they're delivering to lives next door, this Egyptian fella, and he's not bothered, is he? Now, the bit that I remember seeing that was kind of great when I saw it in better quality was the bit where the mummy first rises from the swamp, which looked okay in this, but man, on a crystal clear copy, it looks really good. I mean, really good. But it was kind of good. Did you notice that plot element was used in Bubba Hotep? The whole coughing dropped into a swamp nearby, and then the mummy coming out. That was in Bubba Hotep. So they're kind of riffing on this. So essentially, they're kind of, I mean, like the original Universal Mummy, they were riffing on the Curse of Tutankhamun, weren't they? And the publicity around that. This is again kind of a curse, but it's brought about by this Mehmet Bey, rather than the mummy just doing stuff. We do get quite an interesting sort of whole flashback in Egypt where Christopher Lee is the high priest. I liked him in this bit. What do you think?
He was cool, but
you didn't like the eye makeup. Is that it?
yeah, it wasn't great.
He was rocking the mascara, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
This whole section was just so weird.
So what bits did you like?
I quite enjoyed them basically having to trick the mummy into killing himself. Like they had to like basically work on the angle that the guy's wife looked like Ananka. Yeah. And she literally had to go like, put me down, just put me down. Yes. And he like listened to her completely.
It was kind of interesting, and she had to. If her hair was up, didn't really pay attention to her. But when her hair was down, so she looked much more like an anchor. He kind of paid attention then, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. The old dad who gets sent mad at the beginning. We kind of see a cool little sort of trapdoor business going on, don't we? He removes this little like piece of like a tablet with writing on, and when he's looking at it, we notice that sand starts kind of pouring through from where it was, and this is just like a trapdoor release, isn't it? When the mummy's becomes open, and we see that in the background, the mummy. In he's been entombed for like millennia, hasn't he? Because basically, he gets mummified live.
Yeah,
it gets.
It's like it's a curse, even though mummification was like a reward. But he gets like his tongue cut out. Yeah, it's not pleasant.
Apparently, that was going to be much more graphic, but they toned it down that bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, we didn't see anything, but it was pretty grim. You know, they had a pair of tongs to pull his tongue out and a great big like knife thing. We saw all that. And we saw all the slaves getting killed. They went through, it was a fairly ritualistic scene, wasn't it? They were going through all the slave girls getting like killed with knives to accompany the princess and all this, that and the other. It was all pretty cool. I like the sets as well.
Yeah, the sets were all really quite cool. They... Yeah, it was kind of in line with what they've been doing, really. So it's the same level of quality. So that'll work for me. But I just found it a bit dull compared to some of the other Hammers. It felt a bit like it was running at half gas compared to them. And I mean, I've seen a lot of Hammer films, so I kind of know what to expect after this too. And this one feels like one of the slower ones. I can understand that, but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Fair enough. But one of the virtues of Hammer films is they're short. They never.
This is like only an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, a bit less. It made its money back pretty well, so it kept the Hammer train running too. So there was some other cool stuff. I think Peter Cushing came up with the idea of sticking the fire poker through the mummy and the mummy not being bothered by it. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how like invincible the guy was. Like at the end, they don't really beat him. They just like knock him into a swamp and he stays there.
Well, they're kind of shotgunning his head, so bits of his head are coming up, but he's coming off.
But he doesn't really seem that affected.
He's not that bothered. He just falls in the swamp, really, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it's got a potential for sequels. This, but they don't do one. I'm trying to think. There might be a few other mummy films from Hammer. They might be non-Hammer. I can't remember now. But there were some, but they weren't a sequel to this.
Okay.
I don't think. So yeah, it was all right. I mean, Peter Cushing was doing, he's always pretty solid. There was another actor in it quite a bit called Eddie Byrne, who was the inspector.
Yeah.
He was kind of had some presence too. So that was cool. One character we do encounter was the poacher, who sees he's poaching rabbits and he sees the mummy walking around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That actor's called Michael Ripper. We'll keep an eye out for him because he's in loads of Hammer films. He's already been in 2 we've watched. Did he look familiar?
No.
Okay, he was one of the squaddies in X the Unknown, and one of the villagers in Quatermass 2.
Okay.
When they get angry, turn up Mob Andy.
Yeah.
So, and this will be the 3rd time we've seen him in something. He was just poaching rabbits. He was going on about, I saw a rabbit in a trap and I felt sorry for it. But it was already dead. So I thought I'd come and report it. That was his excuse, wasn't it? So it was going.
Yeah.
On. And we do get the comedy. It's like a tropey movie, isn't it? 2 comedy bungling delivery men that mess things up.
Yeah, they're like drunk off their heads and.
Yeah. You see them in all sorts of films. For example, 101 Dalmatians, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Aristocats. Sorry, Aristocats. My mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that was the Butler. No, it was the 101
They're
Dalmatians.
101.
So you get stuff like that. You see it in a few Disney films, I think. So it's kind of a common thing. And I remember seeing it in Months to Go Home as well. It's that kind of business is going on too. So it was okay. So I think you liked it a bit better than me. I haven't really got much else to say about it. Any thoughts?
Nah, not really myself. Yeah, it's just a good film. I quite enjoyed it, so I guess it's a recommend from me and not from you. So
Yeah, I mean, I'd watch it. I'd still recommend watching it. I'm glad I watched it, but it's not. It wasn't as good as I remembered it, and maybe that's because I saw a really pristine copy last time, and I was really blown away by it, and that didn't come through. I'm going to keep an eye out for it. If it's on again, I'm definitely going to tape it and watch it again, just to double check. The reviews for it were a bit up and down. So in the monthly film bulletin of the UK, they said, more glamorously photographed than ever, Hammer's latest excursion into 19th century macabre fantasy is weighed down by wordy historical exposition, flashbacks to ancient Egypt, burial ceremonies, and a resultant slackening in pace. I didn't mind that myself.
okay.
New York Times said it was woodenly directed, should have been better, but Variety wrote it was excellently executed, but there was little actually new in it. So they're kind of it's kind of faint praise, really. And there's other things, basically the reviews are kind of, it looked nice, or it was okay, but no real standouts. However, on Rotten Tomatoes, apparently it's 7.9 out of 10. So it's very high. That sounds a bit too high to me. On IMDb, it is 6.8. So it's, again, scores reasonably high on that. And that's 7,000 reviews. Rotten Tomatoes is only about 20 reviews. So I think IMDb is probably more valid here. 7,000 reviews is pretty solid. So it was... What would you give it out of 10?
I'd give it about a 6.5. So.
I'd give it a 5.5. I thought of all the ones we've seen, it was the weakest so far, but it was still reasonably entertaining. I liked Christopher Lee in the flashbacks. Actually, I thought it was kind of cool and kind of imposing, and I liked him as the mummy. But you prefer him as Frankenstein monster, which is fair enough. Okay, Next time we come back to this, we are doing the first Dracula sequel, Brides of Dracula, which ironically doesn't have Dracula in it.
Okay.
Which is weird, but it does have Van Helsing, so there is that. Okay, let's wind it up there. So, bye from me.
Bye.